Dawn is more than just a time of day. In the Bible, it's a sacred moment when darkness gives way to light, when silence breaks with song, and when heaven seems to lean in closer to the earth. Many believers across centuries have found that healing comes at dawn, especially when they pray using the Psalms. These aren't just poetic verses. They are cries of the heart, whispered in the quietest hours, and God hears them. In Psalm 5:2-3, David writes, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." This wasn't just routine, it was relationship. David had enemies surrounding him, fears chasing him, wounds within him, and yet he chose to begin his day by pouring out his heart to God. And healing began not when the sun rose, but when his soul turned toward the light. People have prayed Psalm 30 at dawn, a psalm written after a time of deep distress. In verse 2 it says, "Lord my God, I called to you for help and you healed me." And in verse 5, a promise. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Many believers have clung to that truth in their darkest nights. And when they woke and spoke those words aloud at first light, something shifted. Healing didn't always mean immediate change on the outside, but peace began to rise like the morning sun. Psalm 143 is another dawn prayer, prayed often by those battling anxiety, guilt, or spiritual exhaustion. Verse 8 says, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you." There is something deeply healing about hearing of God's love first thing in the morning before the world speaks, before fear tries to return. People who struggled with deep emotional pain have found that starting the day with this psalm brings strength that carries them through what once seemed unbearable. And of course, Psalm 91, though often read for protection, is also read at dawn. It speaks of God's covering, his shelter, and his promise to deliver. Verse 1 begins, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Countless testimonies tell of people who've prayed Psalm 91 as the sun rose facing illness, fear, or danger, and found supernatural peace and healing, both physically and spiritually. But why dawn? Because in the Bible, dawn is when God moves. Exodus 14:27 says it was at dawn when the Red Sea returned to its strength and crushed the enemy. Lamentations 3 says, "His mercies are new every morning." And Mark 1:35 tells us that even Jesus rose early. While it was still dark to pray, he knew the power of meeting his Father in the silence of morning. Healing at dawn through the Psalms isn't superstition, it's surrender. It's not about magic words. It's about meeting with God when everything else is still. Many have found that when they wake early, open the Psalms, and pray honestly, healing begins. So if you're hurting, anxious, or worn down, try this. Get up before the sun. Open to Psalm 5, Psalm 30, Psalm 91, or Psalm 143. Read slowly. Pray honestly. And let the light of morning remind you, God is still with you, and healing is still possible.